So just really quickly before you watch this video, sorry to be informal, but basically the intro to this video has been corrupted. So like while I was importing the file, something's wrong with the device I was recording on, and you'll hear it as you watch the video. There'll be little crackly bits. I apologise for that. I have no idea what's wrong with my recorder. For that reason, the introduction to this video where I say, hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, that got corrupted. So today's video is with Kellin Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens in Munich, and we are talking about their new album, How It Feels to Be Lost. Oh my god, I know. I can't thank Kellin and his team enough for inviting me out and letting me interview him. It's literally been like on my bucket list of things to do before I die, is interview like one of my top tier emo scene bands from my emo phase, and Sleeping with Sirens was one of them. So this is like literally my 14-year-old dream, and Kellin and everyone was so lovely and really helpful and understanding and just awesome people. So again, thank you so much. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to comment and tell me your favourite Sleeping with Sirens album and your favourite song off the new album. Yeah, enjoy! So, kicking off the How It Feels to Be Lost tour, we're in Germany, Munich now. This is a bit of a generic one, but do you have any like favourite memories from the UK? I know there's like loads of different things you could touch on, but of your time in EU and UK, is there anything that sticks out to you? And if not, do you have any creature comforts you miss at home? Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of things that I love about the UK. Doing Europe last is always interesting because I feel like we're very seasoned when it comes to playing the UK. I feel like we've kind of established ourselves there, and we're starting to build more here in Europe. So I guess my favorite part really is I would like to start in Europe and then just kind of work our way to the UK and end on like kind of that note, you know? Some of the fondest memories I have is we did like this acoustic show at this really pretty church in London. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it was one of my favorite shows that we've ever done. And then also I love playing just sweaty punk rock shows at Underworld, and yeah.
Underworld's always a favourite. Didn't you film you filmed a music video
Kick
in the
Me.
Underworld? There we go, that was it. Yeah, that was in the Underworld. Underworld is a classic. That's like a staple for London venues.
Yeah, we've done 2 videos here. Oh, we've done 3. We did Alone here with MGK. We did Kick Me at the Underworld, and then we did Strays, but I don't remember where we filmed that, but it's a lot of fun because we have a lot of our fans in those videos from over here, and it's cool to see them be a part of it, you know?
So you're currently touring with the How It Feels to Be Lost album. Personally, one of my favourite albums by you guys.
Thank you.
Not to be biased, but I mean, I do love your older works, but that album just knocked it out of the park for me.
Thank you.
And before we dive into like the direction of the album, because there's so much to touch on, I firstly want to ask, I know, you know, people always talk about the inspiration behind their albums, but just in general, what is the inspiration behind what pushes you to be a musician? Especially in terms of like people that you, like others might not think that you listen to that inspires you to be a musician.
For me, I just want to make music until I don't like making music anymore, and so far I still do. There was a point though before this album where we didn't know if we wanted to continue on with the band, and I think that getting back in the studio with someone like Zach Cervini, who is an amazingly talented producer, he got us really fired up again, and I think that he kind of helped us find our way back, you know? And I think that happens. I think that sometimes it's easy, and I mean that's another reason why the album is called How It Feels to Be Lost, because not only emotionally can you feel lost, but you can also kind of like lose your mind and your place, like in what is important, you know? You can get kind of caught up in your own ideas and then forget that there's other people that matter too, you know, the people that listen to you and stuff. So we wanted to just kind of like forget all of our own expectations and just kind of get back to who we were.
I feel like with this album, was it ever challenging for you to go back to those breakdowns and those, you know, the vocal capabilities you once had? Because I mean, Gossip was an amazing album, but it was definitely a different direction from what you've done before. Were you ever in the studio like, oh my god, I'm screaming again, this is fun?
No, it is fun. I think that screaming with a purpose is important. For me, it always kind of has been. And then also with breakdowns, it's like, I feel like Jack has come from that world and Nick has come from that world of just doing like those metalcore, whatever genre line that is, doing those. And so I think that it was important for us to write interesting, heavy parts. You know, I don't necessarily like consider them breakdowns per se, but I mean like heavy parts, you know, like open the pit up and move around. And it's been really awesome because I think that doing it in a tasteful way is interesting, and Jack is always coming up with really cool riffs, and Nick as well. So
So, with the new album, I find that it has a real emotional weight to it. Like, there's so much within the songs themselves, like Agree to Disagree, like Break Me Down. Songs like that just have such an emotional weight to them. Even in the album itself, like the cover, the album name, down to its finite details, there's so much emotional baggage. And I'm sure, like, you guys are known for your lyrics and your, like, songs that are, like, emotional roller coasters.
Right.
But after so long of being in this industry, does it ever kind of numb out? Do you just go, how do I relate to these lyrics?
Oh, of course. I felt that with the last record a lot, because I felt like I was writing these happy songs and I didn't feel that way. With this album, it's a little bit easier, you know. But I think everyone has a message nowadays, so I think it's just really important for you to connect with people that are specifically coming for you, you know. And everything with this record was very seamless. The title, seamless. The album art, seamless. Like, the studio time, seamless. And that's very rare to have happen. So when you get those opportunities with albums, you smile and you take it, you know. And that's something that happens. So.
Speaking of music taste, I want to take a quick break from the serious questions, because I always ask bands this question, and I find it's like the most interesting and yet unserious question. So, have you ever watched American Psycho with Christian Bale in it?
I have.
The premise of it is basically he's just crazy and he kills people. And there's a scene in American Psycho where he kills someone to Huey Lewis and the News, and it's like a really upbeat scene. So I want to ask you, what is your murder song? Catches. It has to be upbeat. So mine is What I Want You Got.
Yeah, that's your murder song.
Like,
stabbing, slashing. You know who I think does a really good job with that is Rob Zombie. All of his films, there's always like classic rock songs, and I would probably assume that mine would be either like a classic rock song, like a Lynyrd Skynyrd song, or it would be like maybe like Mad World by Tears for Fears, something like really drony and just kind of like creepy, you know?
It really sets the
like
scene.
Donnie Darko style, like.
Oh god. If you're going classic rock, though, I'd probably go with like AC/DC.
Yeah, AC/DC. Yeah. For those about to rock, we salute you, and just heads getting chopped off.
So, speaking of music, and we're going into the next decade of music, like 2020 is in a month.
Yep.
And that marks like 10 years of the whole scene, like the Warped Tour scene, the metalcore scene, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But like you and so many other bands like Pierce the Veil, Of Mice and Men, Bring Me the Horizon, we're all part of that Warped Tour scene. And I feel like Warped Tour is one of those things, it's like the pinnacle of what made the scene at the time. Like, it really pushed the bands into the mainstream, but then it also brought the community together. And I think the reason people liked Warped Tour so much is because they grew up, like the bands grew up with Warped Tour. As it got bigger, the bands did as well. But next year marks the first year it's not going to run. And I kind of wanted your opinion as someone in the industry of like why festivals like that are important.
I think it's interesting. I think that it's important sometimes for you to miss something, you know? I think that if you always have something, then it's like it loses its value. Like, I feel like everyone was so excited for Woodstock to come back, but it didn't happen. You know what I mean? But it was just, like, bonkers because it was gone for so long. So I think maybe if Warped Tour takes a break and if it does so happen to come back, then it would be, like, a very exciting thing. You'd have, like, the nostalgia part of it, but then you'd have, like, a bunch of people that never got a chance to go, could go see it.
I feel like sometimes you need breaks like that in the industry as well.
You do. I mean, look what happened to My Chem. Like, people are freaking out about it, right?
Now they're back!
It's a good thing. So sometimes it's good to take breaks and to feel missed, I guess.
So, speaking of that Warped Tour scene, like I said, bands like yourself and, you know, like, all these other bands, Bring Me the Horizon, Mice and Men, I could list all of them, that scene. At the time, everyone was kind of going for the sound of the scene, but people change and they go into different directions.
Right.
And, you know, for example, because you guys are touring with Bring Me the Horizon, they've gone in a completely different direction. And you guys, you know, I don't want to pigeonhole you. You've done so much. You don't just do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
With stuff like that, there's always fans who come and say, well, you're not real metal anymore. You don't do the old Sleeping with Sirens stuff. How do you deal with the pressures of that? Like, because I can't wrap my head around that.
I just try to put myself in, like, their perspective. Like, for me, as a fan of bands that I love, you know, I feel the same way sometimes. I think that I come from a different time where I don't voice those things as much, especially on the internet. I will, like, maybe make comments to my band or my friends and say, like, I really like this band. I don't really prefer this record, but I don't go online and post about it. I think that bands should have the opportunity to try new things, but I also see the other side of it with my band and trying new things. Sometimes I think it's important for artists to kind of like find their lane and stick to the lane, you know? I think that if you make drastic changes sometimes it can make people off put.
I think the struggle is balancing your own creativity.
Maybe just do it with a couple songs.
Yeah.
Maybe have a core album with stuff that you know people are going to like, and then branch out on a couple songs, because you don't have to listen to the whole album. But if it's a whole album of that, then yeah, it's a little bit harder to kind of like push on people.
But then even when you Google your band, there's so many different genres that come up. Do you ever feel the pressure to like be one specific sound, or you're just like, I don't care, like I do music because it's my passion?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I think that's what every musician would say. You know, I'll ride this band till the wheels fall off, but I also feel like that, like we were just talking about with Warped Tour, that sometimes things can be missed and should be missed for a little bit, you know? Like, I think that I'll always do something in music, but it doesn't mean that it will forever be Sleeping with Sirens, you know? Like, maybe it'll be producing later on and songwriting with other people and stuff like that.
I'd like to see you go into that. I imagine you'd be a great producer.
That's where it gets fun. When you can write with other bands and, like, be in their band for a little bit and just write that kind of style of music, that's where you can kind of, like, get those gears going.
Speaking about missing things, as we're in Munich, I imagine, like, I think a lot of people see what it's like to be in a band and be like, oh, I'd love to be in a band, but I think there's so much sacrifice that goes into being in a band and missing home, and I kind of want to just, like, what is one of the sacrifices you've made to be in Sleeping with Sirens, of the many that you've had?
Yeah, I don't know, like, I've seen, like, Billie Eilish talk about this in interviews, and I think it's kind of, it rings true, like, more than anything else I've really heard, and that is just that, you know, like, when you're in a band and you're traveling and you're touring, you're like, this is all you kind of know. And then when you go home and you see friends that you went to school with or whatever, and they've changed and they've kind of moved on and grown up and done this or that, you feel, it's just weird. I feel like people talk to you different, you know? Like, they don't really, like, understand, you know? And it's not like I expect people to quite understand it, but even just, like, family, it's just like, oh, how long are you home? Well, I'm home for, like, a month and a half. Oh, and then you have to leave again. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what I do, you know?
So, emo and scene Twitter have unintentionally made King for a Day the new national anthem, like...
Really?
Like, truly, even though it was released in 2012, I think because all the emo kids are, like, starving for a new bop, they're like, hey, remember King for a Day? That was so good, and it's that line, dare me to jump off this Jersey bridge. People are taking that and just making it into a meme in however way they can, like, it just... Anytime I go on Twitter now, for example...
I missed it. I haven't seen it. So.
I'll show you, because I went on today and I was like, I want to prove a point. These are tweets that have been made in the past day. Okay, so it's like, fuck nudes, dare me to jump off this Jersey bridge instead. And then there's, I'm single, taken, jumping off this Jersey bridge.
Cool.
How do you feel about people making memes? Is it something you enjoy? Is it something like, I don't get this, but
I think it's
cool.
fun. Yeah, I like that. I love memes. There's always really, really good ones that I see every morning. I follow, like, a few Instagrams, and there's always, like, really, really funny ones. That one with the, like, redhead dude that just, like, he's, like, his eyes are opening, you know, like that super famous one. That one always makes me laugh, and it's always got a good thing. Like, also, the whole The Rock, when he had that outfit from the 80s that's been going around.
Oh my god,
that kills me. That kills me.
It's TikTok now. TikTok's making all these memes, like that kombucha girl one. That one's good.
I don't know how to use TikTok.
You don't know how to
I was
use
gonna
TikTok?
like learn and watch some videos and maybe get Justin and I to start doing some, because when Vine was a thing, like, I really enjoyed doing that. Time to get ready for the day. And now I'm ready for my day. I feel like TikTok's a little more complicated though.
TikTok's like Vine with music, and then there's also just so many weird avenues, and it's confusing.
Yeah.
I want to round off with one kind of like closing question to bring back to the album.
Okay.
So, your latest album, How It Feels to Be Lost, has come out at the end of the decade, and when you started this decade, you were literally just getting into the scene, and in the past 10 years, you've like essentially launched a career, released like 6 albums, if I'm correct.
You're correct.
So much has happened in that time. You have grown as people, as musicians. Generic question, but if you could go back, would you change anything? Would you tell yourself anything? What would be the, what would you go back and say, hey, don't do this, or...
Nah, I think everything happens for a reason. I think that it's important to let life do what it's supposed to do, you know? I think that we go through hard times to become stronger. We go through good times to realize how, like, good we have it, the opportunity that we have to be here, you know? I guess that's my message to kids that come to shows or anybody wanting to, like, follow their dreams. It's just, like, you go through hard times so that you can become stronger, and then you can appreciate the good times more.
That's pretty much it. Thank you for joining me, Kellin. You can
Thanks for having me.
download and listen to How It Feels to Be Lost on Spotify, on iTunes. It'll be all in the description down below. Make sure you check it out and buy the goddamn album. Bye!